just want to make a video about like stuff going on right now in the world, and just kind of journal venting, and trying to say that it's something that I think matters. When I was a kid, I think 12 and a half, I went to Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranches Association Caruth Camp, and I was completely unplugged from the world, society, and the world. And like while I was there, I think I watched like 4 movies that we first read the book, and like Jurassic Park, and it had to be something that you could learn from. But 4 movies and a Super Bowl or 2, and the thing is one of the things that they taught us is there's a difference between feelings and thought, and feelings are emotions, and they don't have to make you do things. And when you really get down to thinking about what emotions are, they don't really matter for the most part. And really the only thing that you should ever do with them is notice them and think about it, but don't put too much thought into it. And and they said there are things that like gut instinct and stuff like that are very useful. But so I spent about a year and 9 months detached from society. We did some no electricity, except for at the chuck wagon where we ate meals in school. School consisted of, I think, like 3 times a week, 2.5 hours, so like they gave us a lot of problem solving skills, and they made us focus on each other, the 12 in the group, peers, 2 or 3 chiefs at a time, maybe 4, and we learned a lot, and we got a lot of skills doing that because we were forced to work on it in a cut-off environment from everything else. And Thor, come on. And when I got out, like, I went to live with my mom in her neighborhood in Orlando, Florida, and I realized that like a lot of most of the kids in the neighborhood, like, I was almost like I was kind of glad that I went to camp, because like I saw all these kids and they had all these problems, and like everyone I ever knew in my life ended up kind of just really with some problems. And the final thing I saw in my life, and the reason that I just decided to not try and have friends anymore, was because of Richard Sackler and his lie and what it ended up doing to a lot of people. But I was given a lot of tools and taught a lot, and it was it was a scout-based thing, just year round, and it kind of leaves me perplexed, because they taught us a lot there in how to deal with ourselves and kind of other people in the world, but like I'm perplexed at what I'm looking at going on in the world. It's really bad when someone like George W. Bush says, we need consumers to have enough faith and go out and buy another product. We need we need items to last just long enough to make the consumer still have faith in the product and go out and buy another one. Meaning that we need them to break as often as possible and people still be willing to go out and buy another one. And it's stuff like that. And then, like, MAGA and whomever are saying that they're having all these problems living, and they don't have the money they need, or they're not happy with the money they have, or they can't feed their kids, or... You see, the thing is the billionaires, the millionaires, a million people who have around $1 million, or whatever, you see, they created the problem. You see, they made a bunch of consumers and got them in these trends of doing things, and now they can't afford, they're living outside of their means, and it's just like forced up. It's just like, it's just, they caused all this. And to see someone like Trump say all that he's saying and make all these promises and tell these iron workers and this group and that group that he's going to do this and that, and then just after he gets in, sorry, and the food thing, no, and them all still believe it. You see, it's people like Trump that created the whole situation we're in, got people to live outside their means, or to believe that a certain lifestyle acceptance of going to work from 9 to 5, or going, whatever it is, whatever time it is, however long you gotta work, is going to get you what you want and get you what you need. And it's just simply a lie. And all these people are believing things that the Republicans repeat over and over and over and over again. And they're so easy to go fact check. So easy to go fact check. And to some of the things that they repeat over and over in the statements that they make, it amazes me that it's just not common knowledge that these people know that this isn't how stuff works. It's not, how it is. And they don't. And they say them over and over. And it's so easy to fact check and go find out for yourself what the truth is about some of these things that they talk about all the time and use as leverage for their whole scheme. And what I think the direction that things are going in is, I have schizophrenia. And so I have a viewpoint of it, of my concern, and the fact that that's happened, I look at Jewish people, black people, and stuff like that, and the fact that what's happening in the world right now, with people who are losing their power because of AI. It's either they control the GPU infrastructure that's being scaled up daily in the technology, or they lose everything, the wealth gets distributed, they don't have the power that they had anymore, because I'll tell you what, AI is going to be able to point the finger real well at who's made lots of money off of what, and what destruction and shit it's done and contributed to in the world, and they can't have that. It brings to like disassembling Noah, or whatever, making it so that that doesn't exist anymore. That's huge. They've been accumulating data for a very long time, and just recently we now have the technology to actually awake the data and make it usable. It's kind of like the encryption thing where, save it now and decrypt it in 20 years when computers are faster and you can do it in 10 minutes. but, and it's just like, they're sitting there, got everybody believing all this bullshit, and, 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 and no one seems to be able to think for themselves and go look for themselves and find out things that some of it I personally think they should have already known. They were taught it in school, enough in school to figure it out. It's like watching a congressman or a House representative, whoever in Washington, address a climate scientist, and the climate science or the elected officials say, when I put ice in my glass of water, the water doesn't rise and it overflows. Dumbass. Ice out of the water melts, it goes into the water level rises, not to mention the expansion of the water because of the heat. And to see someone say that, and an elected official say that to a climate scientist, and at the same time another elected official or him say too that public opinion has decided on this, so I don't even know why we're having this discussion. And the climate scientist's answer was, well, public opinion doesn't mean anything, it's not fact, and maybe you should listen to a climate scientist. And it's just like ridiculous. It is the most absurd shit that an elected official doesn't understand that they're not talking about ice in the fucking water. They're talking about ice on land that's going to melt and go into the water and raise the level. Like, that is some sad shit to see that shit. And it's like, these these scientists, they sit there and deal with people's shit all the time, and it's just like, and I'm looking over their shoulder or whatever the hell, and it's like, they sit there and be so civil and so just, while these freaking elected officials are basically, with the demeanor that they're projecting at them with their body, is very threatening. It's very threatening. I can clearly see the way that these elected officials talk to these climate scientists. It's fucked up. It's very threatening. It's belittling, and not to mention it's disrespectful because they don't even understand water melting and raising the water level when the ice isn't in the water. It's pretty sad and pathetic, and well, it's so sad. But I can't believe that what's going on in the world right now could lead to me ending up being in society relieving me of my duties as a human because I have schizophrenia and I'm a burden to the system. But the thing is I'm not the one extracting $343 billion out of people for schizophrenia meds every year with that industry. The government sits there and pays these companies, then they're not allowed to negotiate the prices, and like $5,000 for my drugs a month, and I'm on Social Security and I only get $1,000 a month, and they're snapping up like $5,000 from the government for my meds, not to mention the doctor bills and all that happy horse shit. Yeah, I did the math. I think it's something like $767 comes out of every man, woman, and child in America through Medicare and Medicaid paying for schizophrenia medications a year. I don't really understand that. And to talk about the burden that schizophrenia is on society and how much it costs society in America, I found a study on Google Scholar that I had the diagnoses in the specific order that they normally happen in, or on some occasions, and the conclusion of the study is that children that took Ritalin or a derivative of Ritalin when they were 5 years old, when they started kindergarten, for fidgeting their fingers and moving their legs up and down because it was a distraction to other students, had the onset of schizophrenia in their early, whatever words they used, of being 25 years old. And I was diagnosed 2 months after I turned 25 with schizophrenia. It was like bipolar schizoaffective, paranoid schizophrenia. And it happens more often in males than females. You know, it's just, so like, you know, I understand that I had problems when I was a kid, but like giving me methamphetamines as a 5-year-old, and on a regular basis, and it's not like it's, you know, some type of like nasal decongestant or something. And then for me to have to, like, I dropped out in the 9th grade because I walked into the bathroom at school and a guy was selling crack to kids in there, and he said, he's like, if I get in trouble, I'm gonna know who I'm gonna kill. And I dropped out of school at that point. What was interesting is I needed help in math class, and I asked for help and I wouldn't get any help. But that kid that threatened me in the bathroom, he was the teacher's pet in math class. I shit you not. He could get any question he wanted answered from that math teacher, but me, I didn't get shit. Nothing. But he asked it, he got his questions answered. Yep. So, I'm not gonna get a good job. And, you know, when I was working 45, 50 hours a week, making minimum wage, before I got on Social Security, I could never afford a place of my own where I could have my own mind and my own peace and not worry about people stealing my shit, you know, or kicking me out on the street just because they feel like it, you know. It's just, it's messed up. I have spent $800 moving into a place, and I didn't stay there for the first week. I just put my stuff in there and went and helped someone out that needed my help and stayed at their house. Came back, he wouldn't let me in the house and said that he wasn't giving me my stuff back or my money. The person I helped out said, Matt, go call the sheriff. I was like, listen, I've been through this shit before, dude. They don't do nothing. And she's like, listen, go park your car down the street, call the sheriff, and tell them what happened, and they will help you get your stuff. You know what? I was surprised. I got my stuff that time. But, yeah, he got me my stuff. But that guy got to keep my money, and, so, like, the whole roommate thing sucks, and, you know, working 55 hours a week, and going to school really isn't, making minimum wage isn't really like a reasonable thing. And yeah, so my whole thing with me being a burden on society, and like what Hitler did with people who had problems, I mean, because no one actually knows the synergistic effects of chemicals interacting with each other over a long period of time and what that can do to people. I mean, I guess Hitler's solution was to just let them fall into a mass grave. I mean, I just don't really think that's appropriate for me, or for anyone for that matter. And that's something else that's been interesting with this journey with Trump, along the ride that I'm on, that isn't stopping, and I just went off of the motherfucker. I done threw up on everybody behind me. And is that like the Family Guy, there was a part in a movie where Peter's in an attic eating chips while some Jewish people are hiding while the Nazis are downstairs looking for Jews, and Peter's crunching away, like, and like, I never liked that joke, and it was kind of like, just like, but now that Trump is doing what he's doing, and like, me having schizophrenia kind of makes it setting even harder. Like, seeing that on TV and what it meant then, which I kind of couldn't process back then, and like what it means to me now, like, I thought about it recently, the past few months, or past couple months. I've thought about it, and it's just like, damn, it's like, damn, what Hitler did with the people who were a burden on society was just unacceptable. And as time goes on, and now that Trump's elected, people's masks are coming off even more. You see, like, seriously, dude, 6 months after Trump was in, I knew he was going to have to be pulled out of office, kicking and screaming by his ear. I just knew it. And look what happened. But the thing is like 2 years after he was in, I was like, this guy's a Nazi. And as time went on, and time went on, and time went on, and Germany released stuff that they never released before, and Germany said things about Trump to bring that we better be paying attention to him. Like, I really learned a lot. And you see, it's like class consciousness. Like, it's always there, but you see, the thing is when fascists start doing what they do when they want to take over the freaking globe, and do something like have NATO turn against itself, all of a sudden, the class awareness thing kind of puts a spin on everything that is. Class consciousness 20 years ago, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. People just accepted the way it was. And see, that's the thing. Like, this whole woke, anti-woke, woke virus bullshit. Dude, when people started saying they wanted their share of shit too, when things weren't working out right and got tired of getting fucked, they got rounded up. They got rounded up. And you see, people thought that they were going to come and save them, but they didn't. Yeah, and we all know what happened to them. You see, what they're calling woke is when Hitler started fucking killing people and putting them to work. Why he did that, why they did that, why the Nazi freaking party did that, was because people weren't going to take it anymore. No one should have billions of dollars. No one. No human. No human. Ever. Because Trump happens, and simple things that can be fact-checked, and you can read online, an encyclopedia, whatever your flavor of finding out what the facts are about something like gender, they don't know. They don't get it. They don't get the spectrum of shit between male and female. They don't. And the thing is it's something that is so easy to fact check. So easy to fact check. So fucking easy to fact check. You know, the Republicans will say bad shit about science, and when I was forced to practice Christianity in my life when I was younger, I was told that it was wrong for me to think about how things worked. There was a point in my life where people are cramming Christ down my throat and fucking God, and I stopped studying everything. This is evil. This is wrong. Philosophy and science are the devil's tool. I'll tell you this. With what their little master plan is, whatever it ends up being based on the consensus and the votes and the people who made it happen, they will use science to give you a kid when they need another slave, or when they predict that they'll need another slave to be ready. They will use science to control that shit. I sit here as a schizophrenic in 2025, New Year's Day. Well, 45 minutes after New Year's Day. A schizophrenic with people all over the world on the right trying to make what Hitler failed at happen again. Knowing that I am not welcome in that world, I am not wanted in that world, and since I was a little kid, I have memories from when I was 3 years old of people making that very fucking obvious to me. And the other thing I noticed at 3 years old is that it wasn't everybody there. No. It would be one person out of 5 or 6 other people besides me that would not let me have friends. If they tried to talk to me, why are you hanging out with Matthew? You know, like, it's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. This is what people let their kids do and teach their kids. Hate, the N, F, and S bomb. That shit doesn't just start later in life. That shit is taught from the fucking crib. The crib. The crib. And people who say that they believe in God, and there is not one fucking atom, particle, quark of empirical evidence that says any of that is true. Not anything. But something simple as us fucking up the planet with our chemicals and warming the fucking place up. And I've really got to say, dude, I did the math on how high the fucking air goes and where it all settles and how many square miles of it there are on the planet. When you think about the motherfucking smokestacks pumping shit into it, and you really think about there's 60 miles and most of it's down here within the first 12 or whatever, it seems fucking retarded to me to sit there and pump a bunch of shit into our house's air. Like, really? You know, the act of doing that is not just the one stupid thing about it. It goes further than that. It goes further than that to the point that Trump has the people to tell him the right things to say, stupid shit like, you know what, I bet you it's going to cool down and the world's going to get cooler. You know what, that doesn't make you fucking predict shit. That just makes you, that it's probably going to get warm and then cool down, and that's a possibility, or you all fucking know it's going to happen. I understand how it could happen. And you fucking sit there and look like you know what the fuck you're talking about. Dude, these people don't give a shit about us. They've got the money to go to underground. They've got the money to do all kinds of shit, not to mention it could just fucking trying to wipe us out. It's disgusting. You know, today, when I was a kid, they only took kids out of their life if it really needed to happen. But really, like, I gotta say, we need to implement the technology, the infrastructure, the scaling up of GPUs to where the government can access them, and we need to fucking set up camps. We need to set up shit where everything is recorded, everything is logged, everybody fucking comes in there, is identified. If a camera can't identify them, then someone goes up to them and identifies them. And every kid, I swear, dude, needs to be taken out of their house, spend like 3 months, 6 months, I don't know, in a place that's safe, where they are taught things with zero distractions, instead of the kids who were beat up in life and treated like shit and spit in their face and kicked in the nuts, kicked in the asshole, whatever, have to go after those programs and fucking deal with that shit. We need fucking we need cameras, logging equipment everywhere. And we need to make it so kids can go to places where they ain't gonna be no one messing with them. No one. So there is no excuse why there should not be some like acclamation of without parents' influence and without everybody else in their life fucking pulling them in 50 fucking directions, and actually put them somewhere where they can fucking learn something for a little while. You know, my dad seems to have this theory that everybody should go to jail at least once, probably when they're young. I've sat there and watched this shit with the cameras going up and down and being disconnected and let them just fall apart, you know, shit break and not fix it when I was younger, and the beef about it, and it's a violation of privacy and all this bullshit, and I still hear shit about them. But you know what the thing is the cell phone that you carry, your Roku, everything. And now that there's AI and they're talking about your personal AI assistants, and it's going to consolidate your data in ways that you never imagined. And everybody wants to be like, oh, privacy in public, privacy in public, privacy in public. What the fuck? Everybody has sacrificed their privacy in their home. 1,000 million fucking %. But yet y'all don't want to have shit out there in public that fucking monitors everybody and where the fuck they're doing and what the fuck they're up to and all that shit. Y'all don't want that. But y'all let that shit, you'll let every company in the motherfucking world do that shit to you. But you won't let it happen in public. Dude, everybody's out there seeing shit. But it's wrong for the government to put planes and fucking shit and track you all over the cities and shit and where you go. It sounds ass backwards in a way that's just fucking absurd. You know? I know what it is. I know what it is. Y'all want to fucking get laid. Y'all want to be able to fucking commit in a relationship, to be with a person because it's financially better, but you want to be able to go around and fuck other people is what you want to do. That's what you want to do. You see, for the basic voter out there that shit matters to, that's the reason. Someone wants to be in a relationship because it pays the fucking bills and they got more money and go fuck other people. That's why the general voter out there will try and stop that shit. I mean, God forbid, dude, someone like fucking gets a hold of you fucking with another woman somewhere, you know, with cameras and freaking shit everywhere. But y'all don't realize the shit's there anyway. Fuck it. But you know, like, and someone say, oh, you don't, you know, them go behind the system's back and take that shit, and then send you a fucking picture and be like, hey, dude, you know, you've earned yourself freaking $2 million in the bank. You got a wife, not too bad looking. But I got this footage of you, you know, over here, and like, you break up with your wife, she's gonna get half your money. You got 2-3 kids. So like, you can pay me, or you can suffer the consequences of me, or not me, of someone making that shit public. So you can see why, like, people don't want that, and the general person out there at any level doesn't want that state of surveillance. Not to mention the government's been reverse engineering technology and alien technology for a very long time, and now they've admitted it publicly, but they're not stating anything or going to state any specifics about it. You know, they'll just say stuff like, I can't say if there were alien bodies out there. You know, if there weren't alien bodies, they would just say, no, there were no fucking alien bodies. They could just lie and say that, but they're going to make a statement like, I can't comment on that. But yet, a man who fucking worked for them through the military and did all this, and other people have gone to Congress and addressed them and said, yeah, there's fucking aliens, and we've been reverse engineering technology for a long motherfucking time. And you know what? You see, there are these spheres that are about this big, and they can make you, let you see them, and they can vanish into thin air just as quick as you saw them. That there states, and people have fucking seen them all over the world, that states that a type of judgment day could happen. And y'all are worried about some public cameras because y'all are going to get caught fucking another woman, or another woman's going to get caught fucking another guy. They got 2 kids, they're millionaires, and the money is going to be a shit show, and they're going to lose half their shit, they're going to be disgraced, their mom's going to be pissed at them. So they're probably just going to pay the guy that fucking has the footage from the system. You know, it's like we're almost to the point, maybe the companies can offer a little bit of their time from each of them to dedicate to schools, to run algorithms, to stop bullying, to teach behavioral literacy, and all that type of shit. But you know what? Some fucking parent was, you know, the simplest way to do that without freaking building really expensive shit into the walls and everywhere, to be able to freaking listen to all the conversations going on in the hall, would be for just a student to wear an earpiece. They have to wear it while they're at school. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. When they're interacting with other students, if they say something that is incorrect or illiterate in behavior, and the negative consequences that it can have on someone else, they'll be told what they did, why they shouldn't do it, or maybe it'll say it to them like you've been flagged, stop doing what you're doing. Well, the AI will explain to you later, and you can listen to it. But some parents out there, some Republican parents and shit, would be like, you can't make my student do that. Someone could hack it and damage their hearing. Well, you can build safety measures that will make it so that's not going to ever happen, and guarantee that that's not going to happen. But it's like they don't want none of that, dude. They want to be able to sit there and frickin' tape a frickin' Glock 9 under their baby's crib and teach it racism their whole fucking life, and not have a better world. And the reason that everybody doesn't want surveillance everywhere, like I just said it is anyways, is because they don't want to fucking get caught up in a divorce or having to pay some guy frickin', or some hacker frickin', like frickin' $100,000 a year for keeping their mouth shut. So basically, I'll close this up by saying that people are so complacent that it's to the point where the complacency has made everybody complicit in crimes against humanity. And I think there's an element called cobalt that's mined by children, most recently, that is used in the washing process of all of our electronics. So it's kind of interesting how they've taken a substance that kids dig out of the ground for a cup of rice between 4 of them every day. And they wash all our electronics in the manufacturing process. And at this point, you can't say that any of it isn't have that stuff from that in it. So they've kind of made us all guilty of slavery. It's sad. And it's really stupid. People who say to black people, well, if you don't like it here, go back where you came from. The descendants of Dutch slave catchers in Africa, because of affirmative action, have no running water, food, electricity, and they're not given jobs. They can't go back where they came from. And to sit there and watch my life, people say to people, go back where you came from, or hear it in conversation because I'm white and I have to work with fucking people at work. Hear them say they don't like it, go back where they came from. Just be aware that the descendants of the ancestors of people who were over there catching them and sending them over here and all over the world, they can't go back where they came from, and they have nothing. And keep in mind that when they were brought over here on the boats, they were chained and laid out in a specific manner and made to stay there the whole trip, to keep the boat balanced and to make it stable. So, I really think that people should watch their fucking mouths and not say stupid shit like go back to where you came from, when the fucking people who put them over here and caught them to be over here can't go the fuck back where they came from. So, ultimately, it's all a bunch of dumb fuckery, and this whole FAFO thing that everybody's going on about, really, I thought it would be like 8 months before people who voted for Trump started going, hey, what's going on? Why are you doing that? Why? He hasn't even stepped into office yet. He's just been elected, and he's got y'all tripping. All you people out there that said you would never do the jobs that the immigrants do, and if you did have to do it, they would have to pay you a shit ton more money.